Loud works out good. How's everybody doing? Does anybody in here want to learn how to make more money? Really? I got like 4 hands. That's pretty pathetic, right? Nobody wants to make more money. You want to make more money? Yes? Raise your hand. Be excited. Come on. It's about making money. There's no point in creating a startup if it doesn't make money. That's what unicorns are. They don't make money, right? I'm all about making money. So what I'm going to talk to you about today is going to be conversion rate optimization. Now, you might not be familiar with it. It's definitely something that comes up at unicorns and many tech companies, but it's something I get to do every single day. Now, just so you understand what that means, somebody comes to your website, they're going to sign up, they're hopefully then going to purchase. My job is to make sure that more of those people coming to your site end up signing up or purchasing. It sounds really, really complicated sometimes. There's a lot of technology involved, but today I'll walk you through all of that so you know what tools you need to use, what's the process you should take, so that way you can start doing it at your business. Now, there's been a theme of things that I keep hearing at this conference. Who here has a startup? Just a few of us? Just you guys? Only 2? Anybody here work at a company? Okay, you guys are really not engaging, right? You're just all hanging out. Either way, if you work at a company or a startup, your job is to make more money, right? It's really, really simple. And a lot of things I keep hearing people talk about today at the conference is, hey, we need to raise money. We need to go out, we need to get people to help us do this. At the end of the day, it's not about raising money. It's about making money. If your company can make money, you don't need to raise it. If your company can make money, when you do raise it, you get better terms. If you're one of those stupid people out there that goes and raises $3 million when you have no revenue, chances are you're going to lose most of your company. So when you exit the company, you actually won't get anything, right? Anybody hear about the founder's dilemma and the fact that they own 1% when the company is sold, and they only get 10 million even though the company was sold for $1 billion, right? These are the reasons why you have to make money at companies and why we do conversion rate optimization. So for the folks that aren't familiar with this, you might be asking, like, where do you start? If you're just getting into this, go to Google, start searching, check out some of these terms. It's going to be really easy. How do I track the data? How do I run an A/B test? How do I get started? These are all going to be common questions you want to start with when you go to Google. Now, after you do some research, you're going to get familiarized with the very beginner stages of the process, but let's talk about how you get into the mindset. Now, this is probably the hardest part about being a marketer, especially in the digital age, right? Getting into the right mindset is how you become successful. It has less to do with what I say, and it has more to do with the way that you look at the problem. Now, typically when people want to increase the conversion of their site, it's because they're not hitting their goals. Immediately when people don't hit their goals for their quarterly or annual review, they start to spend more money on advertising. They start to spend more money on publicity. They start to go out and try to do more sales. Now, I'm not saying these are bad things to do. I'm just saying that that's not the way to solve the problem, right? I like to find out, how can I do more with less, right? I think the spork is probably one of the greatest inventions out there because it combines a fork and a spoon at the same time. Now, unfortunately, they don't have a fancy image of the spork, which has a knife on it. I don't even know what you would call that, but it has like a serrated edge on one side. But whoever came up with that is a genius, right? Because I only need one tool and I can do everything. But that's what CRO, conversion rate optimization, is all about, is doing more with less. Now, the number one thing you have to pay attention when you have a company is the data. I think in the second talk I heard today, they talked about digital business, and it's all about the data. This is very, 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 very true. You have no other way to see what's going on unless you look at the data. It's not like a retail store where I can watch somebody come in, look at a dress, and then put it back. That's not how the internet works. There is tools that allow me to see you do that stuff on the internet, and it's called data, and that's why you have to look at it. Now, the biggest thing you have to know is that failing is part of the game. Who here has failed? Everybody in this room, raise your damn hand. Everybody, right now. The guy on his cell phone right now that's tweeting out that I'm awesome, raise your hand, because you failed a lot. He still hasn't raised his hand. No, he's not going to raise his hand. Fine. Whatever. You've all failed. Embrace it. It's important. Do you think I'm successful? Yeah. Thank you very much. You and I are going to have a cocktail later on me. Why am I successful? And I do see myself as a success. It's because I've failed so many times. I started my first company when I was 14, and I sold it when I was 19. That was a success. That's all people knew me for at the time. Hence, I was awesome. The problem is there was 5 years of failures before that were horrible, but I just got lucky and ended up selling the company. So understand that you're gonna fail, especially when you do these conversion rate optimization tests. It's just part of the game. Now, another thing is just let it go. And some people get confused what I mean by this. If you're running a test on your website, say you have a home page and the button is red, you're running an A/B test, so there's a green button, right? Sometimes that's not going to increase the conversions. Stop testing that element, just let it go. Move on to another item. Don't get hyper-focused on just one thing. You have to understand you can only increase conversions so much. If you've increased conversions by 300%, awesome, you're doing a good job. Sometimes it's good to move on to the next test after that one. You can only push the limit so far, because if you push it too far, now you're being manipulative and you're lying to your customers, which is not going to help you. Now, next what you need to do is start building a plan. Now, I'm not saying go out there and write a business plan of 300 pages and try to be all sophisticated. All I'm saying is be really, really simple and have a goal in mind. One of the first things that we do when we start working with a new client, we create a very simple Trello board. Anybody in here not heard of Trello? Not heard it? Go check it out. Trello up at the top there. It's one of the best project management tools out there. It runs on a style of Kanban. Really, really good. Was created by Toyota years ago, helped transform their entire business. But Trello is a really easy tool to do project management. Now, for us, you'll notice all the way to the left, we have next week, then we have this week, and then we have today. This is simply just showing us which tests that we potentially are going to run this week, next week, and today. It's that simple. Nobody wants to see you go out there just to test, right? You have to have somewhat of a plan. Now, after you've built a plan, you need to build a team. And the reason why I use robots up here is because it's very important at building a team, and it doesn't matter who they are, it doesn't matter where they are. My #1 employee, even though I'm based in Florida, lives in Pakistan. He's in Karachi. I pay him more than every American on my team, and he's in Karachi, right? It doesn't matter who you hire, just find the best possible people and make sure that they're amazing. Now, if you hire a team and you bring them in-house, make sure that you train that team. Put education first. Make sure that they get the opportunity to come to conferences like this, or even Conversion Conference, which is what I'm going to be doing this talk at next week. Now, there's a lot of opportunities to train people. There's all kinds of websites. Give them the opportunity to learn. That's going to be what keeps those people at your company, but it's also going to be what makes you a lot more money. I invest about 10% of our company revenue right back into company education. And that's important because that's the reason why our people stay at our company, but it's also the reason why we make a ton of money. Our profit margin for an agency is double the average of an agency in America. Double the profit than an agency in America because we focus on education. Now, you can obviously reach out to a company like us, Effin Amazing. See the bottom right-hand side. If you're on Twitter, hit us up. You can just hire us. Don't worry. But you also need to make sure that you choose the right metrics when you do these things. As I said earlier, you need to be looking at the data. So when you run an A/B test, you need to actually measure a metric and choose that metric before you ever launch the test. Who here has ever run an A/B test before? Awesome. We got to get you guys running some tests, which will be really, really helpful. Now, let's talk about A/B testing. A/B testing is not conversion rate optimization. They are considered to be two different things. Even though you increase conversions while doing A/B testing, it's not considered CRO, which is conversion rate optimization. They have different methodologies, they have a different way of doing it, but we're going to talk about A/B testing first, since you have not run any. Now, A/B test is really simple. When somebody comes to my website, I have version A, which has a green button maybe, and I have version B, which has a blue button. As visitors come to my site, they get directed to each one of these versions, and they're left in that version, and I can measure the impact. Let's say if I have a green button, I increase conversion by 2%. That's good. 2% increase is always good. So this is what A/B testing is at its simplest form, right? It's not very complicated, and there's some amazing tools out there to help you. It is not CRO, okay? Just want to make sure you understand that. It is not CRO. I want you to leave this being smarter, not looking like an idiot. Because if you go to somebody and say, I do CRO, and you don't, they'll be like, what, how do you do it? Now, there's two main platforms that make this really easy, and I bring them up in very specific order. Optimizely is extremely good. It is really, really good at A/B testing. It is a WYSIWYG editor. What you see is what you get, which we'll go over later. And then there's VWO. Optimizely is free, up to 50,000 visits per month. So definitely check it out because it's free. Now, they're probably the best platform out there, They have a free limit, but they do cut you off if you're too big. If you're a company that gets more than 50,000 visits a month, check out VWO. They're about a quarter the cost. So it's really, really helpful to have a cheaper solution. VWO is a little buggy, so definitely if you're working at some enterprise company, I highly recommend checking out Optimizely, but VWO is just a ton cheaper. Now, once you get one of these things, you'll get a little JavaScript, and this is probably the shortest JavaScript you'll ever see. Add it to your website. Put it in the head tag. It needs to be the first thing that loads on the page before your JavaScript of analytics, before anything else on the page. It's really, really important. If you do not put it at the top of the page, when that page loads, it will show the person one variation, and then all of a sudden it will flash and switch to the other variation. The last thing you want to do is change the experience for your customer directly in front of them. It would be pretty crappy if I went to a gas station and bought gas and they said, wait, it's $2.99, and then all of a sudden it switched and it's like, no, it's $3.99. You'd be like, what happened to my discount? What's going on here? So make sure that you put that in the right place. Now let's talk about how this works in practice. Let's talk about a company, Fuelsy. This is one of my companies, so I wanted to make sure that we use something that was publicly shareable. Now Fuelsy is a gas app. It helps people find the cheapest gas price and get discounts at gas stations. Pretty simple. Now the way that we acquire customers is predominantly through the web. It is not through the App Store. The App Store sucks for acquisition. Websites are great for acquisition. Now, one of the things we have to do is find the highest traffic pages on our site to test. If you test a page that gets 100 visits per month, it's not going to matter because you won't have enough people coming through that test to give you what's called statistical significance. So we're going to look at the two highest pages. One of them gets about 20,000 visits, another one gets about 1,500. So I'm going to put my test on the 20,000 visit page because I can see the statistical significance over time. Now on that page at the bottom, there is a simple little hello bar at the bottom that tells people to download the app. 20,000 people a month see this. So this is a great opportunity for us to increase the conversion and get more downloads. It's pretty simple. Now, what you'll be able to do with Optimizely is open up the Optimizely. You'll see the site. You can click on that element. It will then allow you to then click on a thing that says edit text. And immediately you're taken to a text editor, which will allow you to edit the text. No developer needed. No developer required. Founders, CEOs, marketers, you can do this all on your own without an engineer. Now, we decided to change it to buy now. And this is really simple. One says save $25 next time you fill up, learn more. Another one says save $25 when you fill up, buy now. Well, what's interesting to us is that we wanted to measure the metric. We had to measure how many app installs we had, right? So this means that we had to set up a service called Branch to measure the downloads on the app, right? Because there's a separation between my website and the app. So I set up my metric, I found a tool to measure that, make sure that you have that. Now what was really, really cool to us is the fact that that buy now increased our downloads by 21%. That's a pretty good increase in conversion. Out of 20,000 people that come to my site per month, I now am getting 21% more of them to convert. Right? Actually, it's not how the math works, but close enough. But either way, we increased the conversion. And that's a step in the right direction. I didn't spend more money on advertising. I didn't spend more money on publicity. I didn't spend more money on anything. I used a free tool. I edited my site. I used another free tool to measure the metric, and now I'm making more money. A 21% increase in downloads from that page actually adds up to real revenue that I get to put in my pocket, and I get to buy my kids stuff with it, right? It's always good to make more money. Once again, who wants to make more money, right? I always want to make more money. That guy wants to make more money. I want to make more money. You want to make more money. It's all about money. Not all of it, but whatever. At a startup, if you're funded or if I've invested in you, it's all about money. Now, what do you test first? We talked about the high-level pages. Let's run through a couple really quick examples, right? We got catportraits.com right here. One of the things you want to do is test the buttons. Buttons are really simple. You'll notice we have a yellow button and we have a blue button. They both say learn more. Test it. See what happens. See if you can increase the conversions. I'll actually tell you this. What's really, really interesting is that we will test the colors of websites for international countries because the culture is so different from a color perspective that color will change the entire conversion rate of a site. For an example, if you use purple, it's really, really good in specific countries compared to red. And it all depends on what country, right? We actually change the color dependent upon what country you come from. So really, really important to start looking at that. Now, of course, test images. One, we have an image on the left-hand side where we can see Barack Obama. You're basically looking at him. This ad is about getting dinner with Obama. The one on the left makes me feel like Obama's going to be sitting on the stage right here and I'm going to be sitting up there with the rest of you. While the other picture makes me feel that I'm actually going to get the opportunity to sit down with Obama and I'm going to have a real dinner with him. Just by changing that one image, they were able to actually increase conversions. Now, our metric was the number of entries, right? You have to have a goal or you're not going to know what is successful. Now, there was a 19% increase just off of changing that image. So it's important to do these tests. Now, you can test layouts, got to get an engineer involved. Definitely make sure if you're going to be doing big dramatic tests, you have somebody like that, but definitely really, really helpful. But if A/B testing is not CRO, then what the fuck is CRO, right? Like, we have to figure out what CRO is. So let's run through this. CRO is taking data, qualitative and quantitative, and using that information to improve your tests. So the first thing I want to know when getting into CRO is, do my customers like me? Do they kind of love me? Or do they really, really hate me, right? I need to know how my customers feel about my business, and I can't just guess. I can't be like, they love me. I can't do that. It doesn't work that way. It's called the internet. It's measurable. It's really simple. Now, there's cool tools out there like OLARC. For all of you out there who have a website, check out OLARC, Qualaroo, really, really simple tools. You can add them to your website and start asking surveys in about 10 minutes. Now, you'll notice this little pop-up on the bottom right-hand side. We can now ask questions to our customers, such as, how can I help, right? Because people come to your website, they don't have an FAQ to check out if you're e-commerce, and they may be asking questions. Are you looking for something that we don't have? Maybe they're looking for the brown pair of shoes, and you only have the black pair of shoes on your website. All you have to do is make one simple change and you can start to figure these things out. Do you need assistance? Because people will tell you what sucks about your website. Really, really good. Anybody want to know what's wrong with their website? Ask your customers. They will tell you. How can we improve is a great question to ask people, because you'll start to get qualitative feedback, which will help you understand what A/B tests you need to be run. And then, of course, what could be preventing you from purchasing? Biggest thing you could see is shipping. You could see taxes. You could see all kinds of stuff. I can't understand how to purchase. These are really, really important things if you want to make more money. Now, of course, usertesting.com, highly recommend it. I can't show you what that looks like. It's literally somebody using your website and recording it and verbally giving you their feedback. This is extremely helpful. They have a free tool called Peek, P-E-E-K. It's only 2 E's. Check that out because it's really, really good feedback about your site. Now, what I'm going to show you is Crazy Egg. Crazy Egg does what's known as heat mapping. Heat mapping is really good because it allows me to see where people click on my website. Now, what we can see is everybody on this website is clicking on the left-hand side. So if I was going to run an A/B test, or if I had some goal I needed to complete, I would probably put it in that area. This is going to inform you how people are using your site so you can create better tests. Now, one little tip that I like to make sure everybody understands, because I see a lot of people on websites, always make sure that the person is looking at what you want them to click, right? What we can see in this example on the left side is that the lady is actually looking at Sunsilk, and everybody is now identifying on the product. If she is looking directly at the person, they're not going to look at the product, they're going to make eye contact. If I go like this, you naturally wonder, what the hell am I looking at? You go up, right? It's just natural behavior. So make sure that your models are looking at the call to action. If your button is over here and your model's over this, it's not going to get clicked. I'm not kidding you. I've seen huge impact of conversion just from that one thing. Once again, take those insights and use it to fill up your backlog. Now, the next is going to be quantitative. You need to have analytics. Google Analytics is free. Get it on your site. Really simple. Hotjar is free. Get it on your site. Mixpanel has a free plan. Get it on your site. These are all great analytics tools. Just get analytics on your site. It's that simple. Now, we use Kissmetrics and Mixpanel quite often. I highly recommend you check them out as well. They're really, really good tools. They both have free tiers, so that way you can get away with it. But they allow you to identify your customers on the site. And they're directly integrated with your A/B testing tools, so that way you don't have to do any additional development. Now, the first step that we have to do is build a funnel. Now, in Kissmetrics, this is really easy because I can literally write out what events I want to track and what pages I want to track, and then build my funnel. So it makes it really, really simple. I don't recommend getting platforms that a marketer can't work with. Now, it makes it this simple. I can make a funnel where I can see how people go through my site. I can see that they viewed my homepage, they viewed my sign-up page, and then I can, of course, see if they have signed up. Now, this is really nice because I can see where the funnel drop-off points are. If you want to make more money, you need to increase the conversions of each of these steps. Now, on the bottom, we can also see the metrics of all of the tests that we're running. So we can see one had create a free account as the call to action, and another one had a button that said get started. What we can see, though, is very, very easily is that there is a drop-off between the first page and the second page, but the test actually increased it. I know you guys can't see those numbers, I apologize. But from the home page to the view sign-up page, there was a 21% increase in conversion. We got a lot more people over to that page. Problem is that with that test, when they got to the next page, the sign-up, less people signed up. Even though we got 21% more people to that sign-up page, less people actually use the sign-up page. So it's really important to look at your A/B tests in a funnel and not just in your A/B testing tool so you can truly measure the impact of what's happening. Now let's talk about an example of real CRO in practice. And I know I'm running out of time. I'm going to go over. Whoever can hear me back there, sorry. Now, this is a really interesting company. Adonis Clothing is really popular, really well-known online e-commerce store for selling all kinds of apparel. Now, the interesting thing is Adonis Clothing was trying to figure out why they weren't selling their certain pieces of apparel. Well, they had recently switched out all of their models. A lot of their models came in new, and they had a different look on their site. Now, if you look at this guy on the site, he kind of looks like maybe an athlete. I mean, he looks kind of preppy. He looks like he's not exactly their target customer. Now, when they started trying to better understand who their customers were, they found out that they were hipsters. Do you guys know what hipsters are? They don't take showers. They wear really tight clothes. They look funny sometimes. There's a lot of hipsters. I mean, I'm not complaining. I have hipster friends, but they don't look like college athletes, right? They don't look preppy. Now, when they found this out, one thing is common about a lot of hipsters. They got beards. So they decided to make him a hipster. They gave the dude a beard. It was that simple, and they tested that. Now, what is mind-boggling, and I'm still blown away by this today, that beard increased conversion, and I'm sorry, by 49%. That is a huge increase, right? That's awesome, just by adding a beard. Now, if you don't know, if there's an app out there called Beardify, it is amazing. I've put beards on all of my kids, my wife, all kinds of stuff. Check it out, it's really, really cool. Bearded lady is what everybody asks us to test, but we haven't done that one yet. Now, let me give you the #1 mistakes that people do make, just so you guys don't go out there and mess all these things up, because the A/B testing is very difficult, I'm not going to lie. It takes a statistician to really run it correctly, but your tools will give you that. But these are the things that we see people screw up, and I don't want to see you do that. First one is only test one element on a page. If you test a navigation item, the color of the button, the image, and also the copy, and you have a winning test, well, which one was it? Was it the button? Was it the image? Was it the copy? Focus on testing one element. If you're going to change the button color, just change the button color and measure that first. Now, I use the example of button color. I only say that because it's the easiest thing to test. The button color typically does not have a big impact. I'm just going to say that. Like, it's not going to be like, yeah, we're a unicorn now. We have red buttons. Woo! It doesn't work that way. Now, next is if you have a low traffic site, only run an A/B test. Don't run an A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P test. The reason why is because statistics are involved, and if there's too many variations, there's not enough traffic to make one of them a statistical winner. If you're not familiar with statistical significance, I'll talk about it a little bit later, but make sure that you're only running the control, your normal website, versus the one variation where you have a red button. If you do too many pages, you won't hit statistical significance fast enough. Next, you'll hear people talk about multivariate testing. It is all the hype in the world, and it's literally the hype, just like growth hackers are all hype. Right? Don't try to do multivariate testing unless you have more than 1 million visitors to your website. People like Hillary Clinton are running multivariate testing on their website right now, and they can get away with it because they're spending $500 million on advertising. People like my company, Fuelsy, will never do multivariate testing because we'll never have that much traffic, and I'm okay with that. I don't need to be cool. I don't need to be hype. I need to make money. Now, as I was talking about this thing has a pointer. Oh, look at that. I didn't even know it had a fucking laser. That's awesome. This is such a cool tool, and I'm about to build another one. This company I used to work at, Kissmetrics, really big analytics company. I shouldn't say big, really popular analytics company. They have a significance tester. What's important with A/B testing is that if you run an A/B test and it's not considered statistically significant and you push that variant live, it could actually have a negative impact on your site. So you want to make sure that you reach a 90 to 95% statistical significance score to make sure that it's correct. If you go to getdatadriven.com, you'll find this tool. It's really, really easy. You can enter in the number of visitors, the number of conversions, and it will tell you, look at the laser pointer, the statistical significance and see whether you're correct. Do not call a winner of a test if you're 25% statistically significant because you'll probably actually be ruining your business. It's that simple. Cool. Well, thank you very much for listening to me while I go over time. Do I have a moment for questions? I only am taking one. Only taking one. No, there we go. What's up?
Okay, so you mentioned CROs on websites, but then there's a lot of things that, a lot of applications that, they need to have conversion rates. So what kind of tools do you use for mobile apps only?
Yeah. Sorry, that thing's my enemy. Just so everybody knows the question, she said that, of course, a lot of the examples I used were on websites, and a lot of people have mobile apps. So how do you do A/B testing on mobile apps? So I use websites as a common denominator because just most people have websites. Actually, most of our A/B tests are done on mobile apps. So there's a platform called Mixpanel, MIX Panel. Really, really simple, another analytics company. They make it really easy to run A/B tests on mobile applications. Optimizely as well has a mobile application. It's known as an SDK that you install, allows you to do A/B testing. Platforms like Branch will also help you measure like install testing and things like that. So those are definitely like the go-to platforms. I think AppsFlyer has a new one, a new A/B testing tool out as well. But if anybody ever needs, like, I'm a tool junkie. Like, that's literally why we get paid money at my company, is to find tools. Hit me up. It's really, really simple. Is it on that side? Yeah, Daniel McGaw on Twitter. That thing right there. Woo, that cute guy. Look at that cute guy. He's so cute. Just hit me up. I'll give you all the tools you need. I know about all of them. Like, literally, companies pay us just to talk about them. 10% of those tools in there were not sponsored. I actually use all those tools, so that's the reason why I promote them. I only promote good tools. I only said one question, and I did that just to see if we can get more questions. Any other questions? I blurted out first, so I'm going to go to her, and I'll come back to you. Sorry, bud.
Sorry. So can you use these same applications you just mentioned for social media as well to measure conversion rates from social media to websites?
The question was, can you use the same tools to measure conversions from social media to websites? That would be a different conundrum in a little bit. You could still measure those conversions. You could actually isolate those conversions as well in your analytics tool. It depends on are you A/B testing on the social media site? Yeah, so that you're going to want to use a thing called UTM. It's called Urchin Tracking Module. We actually built a tool. Just Google Effin UTM tool, and you'll get our UTM tool. It's used by like all kinds of cool companies. It's free, but it'll make it so that you can run your A/B, or you can set up the UTMs for the test in there, and then you'll want to measure the UTMs on the other side. If you hit me up on Twitter, I'll show you the whole process because we've actually done a lot of that in the past. Facebook got rid of their regional ads, or the regional posting. You used to be able to be like, I want this to be in Florida and I want this to be in Maine. And they got rid of that, which was like it's so annoying, because that's how we used to run all of our A/B tests from social media, is we would split up the country and then see what happens. Well, that's a stupid idea to split the country up. You got to randomize it a little bit, but your turn.
If I get your words, you say app sucks for acquisition, websites are great for acquisition. Would you elaborate on this, please?
Repeat the question, I'm sorry. Apps suck for what? App Store. Oh, excuse me. The App Store sucks for acquisition. Web is better. So the discovery process in the App Store is really bad. Apple is about to launch, and everybody please tell your friends about this. Apple is about to launch an ad platform so you can actually pay to be on the front page. The problem with the App Store is that their algorithm is completely built based upon the number of downloads your app has. So one of my clients is the #1 app for food. To dethrone them, you got to get a lot of downloads, and you got to get them really, really quickly, because they're #1, they already get a ton of downloads, right? Because they're #1. So it's kind of like the American economy. Anybody here understand what that's like? No? Yeah? So either way, it's really, really hard to dethrone them from that. So discovery no longer happens in the App Store. If you're really, really good at content marketing, SEO, you can actually get all of your downloads from the web. So our business model at Fuelsy is we're a mobile app, except for we do a lot of content marketing. So almost all of our downloads start with our website and then go to the App Store to download it. Because you can't find new cool apps in the App Store unless you like type in their name. So that's the reason why we always focus on web. #1 problem that you see with mobile app companies is they put all of their chips on the mobile app and the App Store. The stupidest thing you could do. By far, and I know this from failure and losing like $50,000 recently, you have to have a website which attracts business and convert them to your app. You'll get way more downloads. Yeah?
Just 2 comments. One, we work from using a lot of our clients on Mac applications to get them to a digital channel. And we're finding that we're getting a 10x conversion to download on app or registration on web starting from the pack because of the trust element. Trust is a key issue here.
Yes.
Okay. Second thing is, just an experiment somebody can do. You can make up a name and create an Amazon account and log on and take a picture of the first screen you see. Then log on again and the second screen. You'll see that they're actually changing the screen every time you log on based on your behavior. and you can just see it actually working before your eyes. It's a cool thing to do.
Amazon's great at it too. Just Google does the same thing. Like everything's built upon your basic searches. So like whenever you're doing, like when we do testing for SEO, you have to open an incognito window, or you won't be able to get like a vanilla page. But that's really, really interesting. We use a lot of direct mail recently that has been really helping us. Direct mail is getting cheaper and cheaper and cheaper, but we found a way to automate it, and it's doing good.
So that hybrid traditional digital approach is actually now probably being come to being accepted as being the best approach.
I agree. Direct mail has been a huge, it made us money last quarter for sure. Any other questions? Yeah?
What's the minimum number of traffic visits to start doing A/B testing?
A/B testing. You should probably have at least 1,000 visitors per month to your site, and you might have to let that, it's known as a Baker test. You're going to have to let it sit for a really long time, but 1,000 visits per month is going to be typically like the minimum, or you're just going to wait a year and a half. So there's another speaker who's coming on right after me, and I want to be considerate of their time. Please come up to me. I'm going to walk right out that door right there. I want you to come talk to me and come harass me because I want to help you make more money. All right? Big round of applause because I'm amazing. Thanks, everybody.